Well, welcome to the Finance Transformation session, which is the journey towards Agile business partnership. And they wanted me to start with this just to make sure that all your badges have been scanned at the door, or you can just use your self-check-in. Now, to talk about a little of what we're going to be covering in here, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story, UWM story, and then the journey, that it's being a journey and not a destination in terms of where we to start, how to do it, how to maintain it, and then some of the challenges that we can overcome. So, a little bit about me. So my name is Racha, pronounced like the country, Russia, just to make it easy for everyone to remember. I'm the Finance Transformation and Automation Leader at United Wholesale Mortgage. And to give you a bit of background, I did come from the Middle East, and it can't be more obvious than this, where I grew up in United Arab Emirates, and no, we did not ride camels. This is where I grew up, and this is where I started my career at a Big Four in IT and business consulting. And then you may be wondering, why did I end up here, or how did I end up here? Well, there is my husband to thank for. I did in 2016, I ended up coming to the US, very specifically Michigan. And I stayed for the next 5 years in the Big Four, continuing my journey in the IT and business consulting until 2021, where I joined United Wholesale Mortgage. It's the year it went public. UWM, United Wholesale Mortgage, is the #1 mortgage lender in the country. And while it is a sophisticated high-tech company, it has invested a lot in the client-facing technology. And of course, focusing on the top-notch service for its customers. However, in the, let's say, back office, or like the support functions, for example, finance, it needed a little bit of refinement. And this is where I found the best opportunity for me to have that blank canvas where I could start or build the finance transformation team and the finance transformation program. So before we talk about how we build it, there are a couple of studies that were interesting. EY did a study where 30 to 50% of automations tend to fail. And then McKinsey did another study where 70% of transformations tend to fail. And this is due few pitfalls, some of which were mentioned in the articles, and some of which are from my own experience. So lack of leadership support. I mean, if we don't have it from an early stage to support leadership, the buy-in, their buy-in, it makes it a bit harder to continue in that journey. No clear vision. We don't have a very set vision, or if we don't have a proper approach, a proper governance, risk management, improper monitoring, or we're not able to see the big picture. And sometimes one of the other pitfalls could be because of the lack of bridge between the individuals who are very, very good at understanding the data versus the individuals who are really good at the technology or the platform. Now, I do firmly believe that UWM had a success story because we did consider or take every part of that pitfalls that we just mentioned into consideration. And as a success story, in just 1 year, we were able to have a strategy in place. We were able to have a governance and approach, like a methodology, with 40 plus live projects with ongoing monitoring. Thousands of hours we're able to save, in addition to cost savings internally and externally. And of course, which is people think it's not as important, but it's very important, is we were able to build that trust between us as a team across not just the finance department, but across the whole organization. And we became quickly the source of quick solutioning. And this is something that we're very proud of, that we were able to do in just 1 year. But we were able to do this because we had the mindset of that it is a journey and not a destination. And to make it simple for everyone is, I'm going to be talking in very simple terms, is let's go through the whole journey, where to start. And where to start, again, getting that leadership buy-in or support. We're back in. I don't think, I understand that leaders can be, they're different, they're not all the same. I understand they're from different industries, different experiences, different environments, but they have one thing in common, which is show me and I'll support. We need to show them something. We need to show them results or some sort of that you can actually, you're not just talking the talk, but walking the walk. And this is where you could start by sharing the vision. Set a clear, defined vision. What do you want to be? Do you want to be that business partner that you want to help add value to the company? Do you want to be that business partner or a partner that you want it to be able to move everything from manual into a more efficient environment? And then set up strategic objectives or purposes, what is it? You want to minimize complexity? Do you want to be able to realize value and optimize cost? It's all about what you want to end up being, and then try to set it up and define those. And then obviously we want to set the foundation, which is defining the methodology, defining the approach or the process. What is your process? Do you want to first understand, as a step one, understand your current state? Do you want to, second step, try to design how do you want to envision that future state? Number three, what do you want to do? Implement testing? How is the testing going to be? And then same thing with methodology. Are we defining risk management? Do we know how to manage risks? Do we know how to manage the technology? Do we know what we're going to do in terms of communication protocols? Do we know what we're going to do from a training and awareness? So this is all things that we need to consider as part of the foundation. And this is something that we would be showing leadership. And not to forget also the governance model, where when things go live, are we governing it in terms of change management? Are we governing it in terms of access management? So this is all things that we need to consider. And I know this sounds all theoretical, but how to do it is to start simple. Number one, let's just start very simple. Select your, like a quick win, like a very small project. It doesn't have to be complicated. It could be a process where there is someone who's spending an hour a day they are consolidating 10 third-party reports and then calculating financials, something like that. It could be as simple as that. Yes, it sounds very simple, and they spend an hour, but that's 5 hours a week, which means that you're talking about 250 to 260 hours a year. So let's start with a very simple process, and while we select that process, let's try to understand the big picture, which from my experience seems that we miss some of that. For example, if a process is A plus B plus C as a steps wise, and we don't want to go end up automating A, B, and C. We want to try to understand and challenge the why, and try to understand that yes, there are some people who have been doing this, I don't know, for maybe past 5 years, maybe past 10 years. We just wanted to understand the why, challenge the why, understand, do we need to have C as a step in there? Do we need to add D because I have other end users that might be impacted by that change? So it's all about understanding everything overall around that process. And then again, setting timelines is sometimes, some people, they would set timelines and then a year from now or 2 years from now, which is quite a long time. A lot might happen. There's a lot that can change within that timeline. So because we're starting small, we're setting timelines that are shorter period, and you'll be able to commit to them, and you're able to even showcase your leaders or the leadership what you could have done. And then Alteryx is the technology that we're currently using. This is the one that we find, this is the technology that we find that was very, very helpful in our situation for our company. And it is honestly very, very easy to use. And I always give that example that my team, they didn't know what Alteryx is initially. They don't even have a coding experience. They don't have any programming language experience. However, now, in my opinion, I consider them pros. I mean, yes, they're smart, yes, they're hardworking, and they have the right mindset. Nonetheless, the tool is very intuitive, and it's very easy to learn, and it does have a great support system for a help desk. And then communication and involving all stakeholders. This is another part where it supplements the big picture, because we want to understand, is it impacting SOX controls? Is it impacting internal audit that we need to involve them? And understanding who are the end users. Because sometimes the people who are working on the process might not even know that the end or the deliverable that they're getting out of this, it's being used by another team. And this is where the more you ask the questions and the more you challenge the process, you'll be able to know these questions. And actually there was, we were working on an automation or a project to end up automating it. And our first meeting, I remember it was like, oh, it's only team A that is working on it. After 2-3 meetings of asking and challenging, it ended up being 5 teams being involved. From being an end users, from being the SOX being involved. So it ended up being a bigger scope than what we initially thought. And then document. Well, this is usually always on the last thing on everyone's mind or the last thing on anyone's list. But it's very critical that is to make sure that we're documenting everything. In our case, we flowchart the process from when we're understanding the current state. Not just the process flow, we do a data flow to understand where is the source of the data, where is it coming from. We do that for the design when we're doing the future design. We document all the testing. We document, testing, not just the testing cases and the results, even the testing evidence. We document every detail related to the project. So if you're gonna tell me from 1 to 10 how much we document, 1 being the bare minimum, we do an 11. So, and this really helped when we got audited by our internal SOX compliance team and by our external auditors. And guess what? We passed both because of this. So it's very critical, at least. And initially, when we started this, we were documenting, when first 2-3 projects, we were documenting in Excel forms where it was like as simple as different tabs and just filling all of that in or putting all of that information in and retaining them until obviously we ended up talking to IT because we were growing, and IT created for us internal site, and now it's very nicely documented on the internal sites. But my point is, it's okay to start simple. It's okay to start with anything, but at least you have your base there. And then finally on this, it's okay if something fails. It's not gonna be the end of the world. It's not the end of the program. It's not the end of the project. If it fails, it's fine. Fix it and move forward. And I do remember our first project ever, which was as stressful as it is to go live. We were able to take it live on a certain day. And the day it went live, it was a lot of noise from the stakeholders or from the process owners, where they're like, oh no, I didn't want this to be the header. Oh no, I wanted this in the debitor report. Oh no, I wanted this in a different format. Well, it's fine, it's expected, it's a change. However, obviously we fixed it right away and took it live. But it made us think, okay, what else can we do so that we can avoid such a thing in the future? And this is where we came with the soft live. We're like, okay, we'll take the project automation soft live, let them feel it, although they've seen the results and the testing with the validation testing and all of that. But then some people, they just want to see it live without going back to their manual process. So we're like, that's fine, we'll make it work. We introduced the soft live, and now it's working great with 40 plus projects. It's working great with having the soft live with no noise after it goes live. And then people usually tend to forget, they think that when an automation is live, our job is done. On the contrary, our job is even more critical when we have to maintain those automations, because we monitor every automation that it goes live to make sure that we have sustainable results with the stakeholders. The way we do it for monitoring, every automation that is out there, within Alteryx, we are configuring it so that we can get emails every single run it goes. It doesn't matter if it's daily, doesn't matter if it's weekly, doesn't even matter if it's yearly. We get those emails, notifications saying it's a success or if it's an error. Now, if it's a successful run, it's fine, but we do also look at the outputs to make sure it's all as aligned. And then if it's an error, this is where we right away jump on it and make sure that we're fixing that error before they rerun it. Because at the end of the day, the stakeholders are relying on that output. And if there's no monitoring and it's just failing, I can guarantee you this automation, it won't even last. If not few days, like if I'm gonna be generous and say a month would be the most it's gonna last. And with that also, because we're always working with stakeholders and we're trying to build that trust, we wanna also make sure that they are comfortable, that we're training them on that new process. Remember, some of these people, they have been doing the same thing for so long. And now, yes, we're making their life easier by, rather than spending an hour or 2 hours a day, now it's a click of a second where they're just receiving the report or just receiving the output. We just need to make sure they're trained on that and make sure they're comfortable with that new change. And this is the other thing that too, even if you have to do process steps, or we call them job aids, to help them, like even after the go live, they're comfortable to get through all these steps. And this is all part of what we try to do to make the process owner, the stakeholder, comfortable that we're here to help them and we're not here to make their lives even harder. And then for this one, it's very easy to quantify success. It could be in terms of hours, how many hours we saved, could be in terms of dollar amount, external costs, internal costs. Maybe you don't need a vendor anymore. Maybe you don't need someone to do this from the outside because you automated this whole thing. So these are all dollar amounts that you can quantify. But also, what can be a success is the higher quality and the higher accuracy. Now, did the error rate go down? Did the accuracy rate go up? That's all part of your metrics. And then this is where you could actually communicate to your leaders step by step how things are going, and this is where they can see the value in what you're bringing to the table. In our case, we did create a Power BI dashboard, which again can be very easily connected to Alteryx, and we did provide like a link for them. They can access it on real time, and they're able to see, okay, What is the total number of projects that are live? How many total hours so far has been saved, or dollar amount, or how many projects are in progress? And now it's just on the tip of their hand whenever they need to see it. And then the continuous improvement is just also part of the mindset, is that, okay, we got from step one to step two, but how can we keep moving and make sure that we're always improving? And this is a mindset which we needed to make sure that it's part of our methodology, that we're always thinking through, yes, we were able to automate process A, but then is process B and C can also be all consolidated into one and have it at one big process that can serve multiple teams? So it's always about trying to think, what could we improve? And it doesn't have to be, I'm level basic, I'm gonna go to advanced level right away. No, it's slowly baby steps. And this is what slowly you can actually get to the success of the journey. Now, I understand that as part of every journey, there are always challenges. And it's normal, but then I think the key is how to overcome these challenges. And some of the very common challenges that we have is resources. You're like, yeah, that's a great idea, but I don't have anyone to do it, or I have only one person to do it. It's okay. One person can work. We started with one person, and it's fine. We needed one person to create the pilot. We needed one person to have 2-3 projects out of the door. Yes, it was a slower rate, but it didn't matter. We wanted to show value. And in terms of technology, yes, there might be issues with the technology. Now, yes, Alteryx can connect with databases, internal SQL databases, connect with other automation tools. It can connect with the BI systems. But now, sometimes we might need like more of a little bit of more IT support in that, support the infrastructure. And I think the way to go around it is having that very open, transparent discussion with your IT department from day one. In our case, we didn't have that problem. From day one, we were able to show them, when we build the strategy, hey guys, this is what the plan is. This is our strategy. Hey guys, this is our pilot. This is what we're able to do. This is how much we're able to save. And if we need your help, we need your help to partner in this. So it became like a partnership between finance team and between the IT team. And then with stakeholders opposing change, this is very normal. Like even on a personal level, like if you're gonna change jobs, right? You're gonna feel that resistance at first. Something you're not used to, something new in your life, something is happening, which is normal. So imagine if we have stakeholders who have been doing this for years. Like, we needed to understand that resistance. Where is it coming from, right? And a very good example here, when I think it was the first 2 or 3 projects that we were taking live, and someone came to me, and it was sad because like the way he came and approached me, he's like, okay, so you're automating one and you're automating this and you're automating that. What's gonna happen to me? Are they gonna get rid of me? I'm like, whoa, no, it's not that. I'm like, and I explained to him, and I'm like, okay, when you don't have to do this repetitive step in the morning anymore, and you only had to look at the outputs where you are right now looking into the discrepancies, you're able to you have the time to do that, look at the root cause of this, have more analysis being done. I'm like, is that true? He's like, yeah, that's true. I'm like, exactly. This is what we want you to do. We want you to move away from having that repetitive task that we can automate and help you do it, and then you can focus on the more value add tasks. And I mean, I think he felt better, but this is my point, that we want to show them that we're here, that we're together in the journey. We're not coming here to take their jobs away. And I know it's a very common challenge, but I think it's just trying to speak to them in a very simple way and try to explain that to them. And then finally, leadership, lack of support. And it goes back to what I was saying, trying to show them something. Start simple, show them something. Even if you had to do a return on investment analysis on a smaller scale, you know, just to show them that, okay, this is what we can do, and this is how we can execute, and this is the plan. So that would be on some of the common challenges and how to overcome them. So I know there might be more challenges depending on your environment, depending on the company, depending on the leadership, but the key is how can I sit, brainstorm, and try to overcome these challenges. And then finally, let's not forget to celebrate. Celebrate your achievements. Celebrate every small win. Celebrate every milestone, small or big. I think it's really important, not just for you, but also for everyone who have been part of that journey with you. And for example, for us, on our first year anniversary, since the first go live, we created this nice video. It's very cool in my opinion. And we did talk about all the achievements we did throughout the year, whether it's the number of projects, whether the hours saved, whether how we minimized the risk, how we increased accuracy. And we shared it with all the stakeholders who were part of that journey. And we did have a big thank you in there because they were part of this journey, whether it was a junior person or whether it was the leader of that process. And it does make them feel part of this. It does make them feel that it is a partnership. And with this, we're gonna recap. Again, just a reminder, it's a journey and not a destination. We need to start with the foundation, the structure, have a clear strategy, clear vision with an approach. Start very simple as possible as your pilot, and then I cannot emphasize this more, communicate, whether it's leadership, whether it's IT, whether it's your business partners, always make sure that we're communicating. There's nothing, it's called over communication. So, and with this, I wanted to, as a closing remarks, I wanted to share a very short video, but impactful. And let's watch.
Playing jazz.
Playing jazz.
Smoothie.
Making smoothie.
Calendar.
No meetings today. Remember, dentist at 9:30.
Fire off.
Fire off.
Open door.
Door open.
And we're gonna do one more.
Oh, yeah. Open door.
Wrong voice command.
Open door.
Wrong voice command.
Open. Open door.
Repeat that.
Open door.
I didn't understand that.
Hey! Open door!
Play on the floor.
Get over the floor! Open the door!
Wrong voice command. Error.
Hey, William. With a rock? Open door. Open door.
So the message here, automation is great when it's working, but it can be really frustrating when it's not. And so for us, we needed to make sure that we're actually going through the journey in the right way. Do we have the right methodology? Did we consider every risk? Did we consider every what could go wrong, right? Do we have the right process? Did we consider every testing scenario possible? Did we consider the right monitoring process in place? So this is all part of making sure that we're doing the journey right, so we can have a sustainable solution that can go through any disruption. So we can actually avoid the playing on the floor part of it. And honestly, this is something that, this is the reason I wanted to create the finance transformations at UWM. It is something I'm very passionate about, and something that I wanted every business partner that we have to be able to get through that door. And I can keep going for another 3 hours, but I do have to end it here. Thank you so much for listening, and I think we can start with the Q&A session. Oh, by the way, Q&A, I only accept those that are questions are in form of compliments. Otherwise, you can keep it to yourself. I'm just kidding. Fire them away. Questions? I'm kidding. You can ask questions. I mean, I know I'm awesome, but I didn't know that awesome. Yeah.
So I get the privilege to work with you and the team, so I know how great you guys are. But like, there's a lot of good content here. If you had to boil it down to just two things, right? Like, what are the two things that somebody's just thinking about doing this for the first time? What would it be?
First, it's a journey, not a destination. Second, make it as simple as possible. No need to complicate. Like, you don't have to overcomplicate whether it's, oh my God, I don't have the system to document, or oh my God, I don't have the resources, or oh my God, it's okay. Even if you start by yourself, it can work. So simplicity is key. And remember, it's a journey, not a destination. And I know we had a question at the back.
When you said it helped with documentation around the Alteryx process, what kind of,
But
it helped with the auditing, et cetera, what kind of things were they looking for?
like from an audit perspective.
Yeah.
So there were controls around, like when it became in scope, there were controls around change management, controls around access management. For example, who has access to automation that are already live, that are already in production? Who had access, how are we monitoring that access? From a change management perspective, how are we making sure that we're managing change, that every time after it goes live, if there is a change, that when the change went live, we're able to test it, like make the change, test it, get it approvals again, and move on. So the documentation around that, we made sure that everything is documented from what exactly has been changed, and tracking that with all the approvals and all the testing evidence, and making sure that from an access perspective is being controlled.
Racha, what was your process for selecting the tools at the initial stage?
So very initially, it was honestly, it was like how easy it was to use it. I mean, yes, we could all go and learn the coding and like do it in other tools. But the one that really attracted me to this one, it's like how simple it was and how easy to learn. Like everything, it's very UI, I would say user interface friendly. It just like, I don't know if you have used Alteryx before, but it's just like drag and drop. I mean, it's as simple as that. And then from there, slowly we could do. And I do remember the first ever project, if you look at that automation, it like compared to the automation that we're creating now, like it was very easy to do that initially, but now we have improved so far, like so much in terms of where we could even every day learn something new on the tool and be able to even automate it in a better way. All right. Yeah.
How did you navigate, like you said, you start off with one, how did you get leadership buy-in? You know, you get to know these guys become better, please provide me the resources and the, or did you kind of do kind of like?
So I was lucky enough that the vision that we had, my leaders had the same, like they had the same vision. Now, obviously, yes, they had the same vision, but for them to provide me what I need, like from resources or from, support, I needed to show them something. Like I need to show that I'm not just talking the talk, but I'm walking the walk, even with my heels, but I can still walk. I still was able to walk the walk. And then this is where like I started with just one pilot. I had only one resource, and we had one pilot. Like I'm like, let's do that. Let's show them that yes, look how this that used to take an hour a day, it takes now seconds, and which basically we're able to save 250. So imagine the more and more, and we did an ROI analysis, honestly, to show them like, okay, within first year, this is how much we can expect, savings or accuracy or quality, and this is a year two. So that really helped with our leadership. Any more questions? Yeah.
You talked just now about resistance and how to overcome that from leadership. How about from the stakeholders that are actually utilizing the outputs of the automations that are the ones, like you mentioned earlier, that were responsible for those functions going into it. You talked a little bit about the person that came up to you, but were there other instances that you can share about how you're able to overcome some of that resistance as well?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like there's a big difference between how when we first started, and because they didn't know what we were coming to do, and initially it was like a lot of resistance in terms of like not just like, okay, what am I gonna do now, but in terms of like, who are you to come and tell me what to do? Like, why are you like, what do you think you're better in this than I am? So it's a lot of common questions, but then it's the slowly that we were able to have those like little discussions with them and be able to have them to trust us. And I think that's the key. Like now, I don't I don't go to them with projects. They come to us with projects. They're like, hey, you helped us with other project. I have 2 more on the table for you. Can you please get this done? And this is why I was saying earlier that we became that the source for the quick solutioning, because now they trust. I'm like, okay, they can get it done. They can really help us, and I don't have to worry about those tasks anymore. I can actually focus on a more important and more value add tasks. Yeah.
So then, do you feel like this has made your team less reactive and more like prescriptive, or on the other hand, you said that they were asking you for things now. Do you guys feel like you have the ability to then become less, reactive, more, we're gonna already try to think of what you guys want?
So I wouldn't say less reactive. I think it was because as we're working and getting to more like basically you're getting a deep knowledge right now of the different processes out there. And because of that knowledge that you have across the different teams, we're able to even suggest what would be the next level or that continuous improvement thing. How can we improve better? Whether it's team between like whether it's a process between finance team and the capital markets team, or finance and treasury team. And this is because we have that knowledge now. I feel like we're even in a position to be able to resuggest those to leadership or to even to talk to the different teams about it, while we still get like requests from individual teams or individual people. All right, so I think there are a couple of minutes more. If there's not, we can end this session and you can have your snacks early. Thank you so much for joining.